Welcome to the Hello Dai podcast. We are your hosts, Sheila
and Misha.
We are two childhood best friends who are now ambitious working moms trying to manage it all while conquering our dreams. Started this podcast to create a safe space for women to be their unapologetic selves.
Each episode contains powerful stories from both of us and other women sharing the real, raw, and honest stories and insights on adulthood, motherhood, self-improvement, being a woman in today's society, and everything in between.
If you're looking for digital BFFs, you're in the right place.
So without further ado, let's hear from today's podcast.
Welcome to today's episode. I am your host, Sheila.
And Misha. This is going to be a little bit heavier. So we are excited. At the same time, we are going to definitely talk about big things.
Right. In today's episode, we are going to talk about something to do with the question, should women have it all or can women have it all? I always see this huge expectation from women growing up, from the way we dress, how we should talk, how we should walk, talking about the stereotypical things that women should do, right? So let's put this in the context of being married, right? Because that's kind of where we are right now. We are both married, we have kids. We've kind of been always taught that we should know how to cook, how to clean, take care of the kids. I think those are the stereotypical things that is expected from a woman. And men are expected to work and be the breadwinner of the family. But in recent times, understandably, there are women joining the workforce and is being encouraged to work. But there is a kind of a situation that I often hear that, for example, if a woman decides that she's not going to work, she decides to stay home and take care of the kids and, be a housewife, right? Which is, being a housewife is not as easy as everyone thinks. So there's this huge expectations for women to do these stereotypical things like do the housework, take care of the kids, take care of the family, and take care of the husband, right? But now there's also that pressure to work, actually. But I do want to have my own money and be independent in that way. But there's also a part of me that I would want to have just be a housewife. For many years, I've always wanted to have it all. I want to be a mom. I want to have my own career. I want to have my own business. I do love to have my own thing, but just a bit conflicted. But, I just feel like I can still have both. But I've seen a lot of judgment for moms when they decide to work. So you're not going to have enough attention or you're not gonna spend more time with your kids if you work. But if you stay at home and you be a housewife, people are also gonna ask you why you're not making your own money. It's like you can never really win. For me though, it's a fulfilling thing for me to work. I love working. I love the being productive. But there are also times that I just want to relax and just not have to think about work. But I also feel empty if I'm not working. So it's very complicated.
Me, I understand that. I understand why you would feel conflicted and torn with the whole situation. It's because we take on a lot. We want to accomplish different things for ourselves because, as a woman, we're not just defined as a woman. We are defined by multiple different things. We are defined as a mother. You're defined as a wife, a partner. You are defined as a housekeeper, basically. Keep making sure the house is in order. And that already takes a lot, right? But at the same time, you want to be your own individual self, where you can actually accomplish things, make your dreams come true, achieve those goals, right? So I completely understand why you're torn, why people are torn, women are torn. It's because we would want to be productive. At the same time, because we're taking on a lot, we just need a break. Can you take a little bit of the load? And I totally get that. I was at home with my son for months and I enjoyed every single moment of it. But at the same time, I wanted a break. I just wanted to go out, just not be a mom for an hour. I would ask my husband when he's home, I'll just go to the grocery store, hang out there for an hour. I
love grocery shopping. I love grocery shopping. It's a whole new experience when you become a mom. Grocery shopping is actually kind of fun.
Because it's just you, right? It's just you and grocery aisles. You just keep
Yeah.
walking and walking. It's like a shopping spree, but not clothes,
Yeah.
but food.
But
So there's that, we just take on a lot. And so
mm,
having all of that stuff, on our shoulders, we want to achieve, we want to be a mom, we want to be present, we want to be a wife. It's a whole ball game. And so
yeah.
yeah, being
Yeah.
torn is, I feel like, is a very normal thing to feel. So
Yeah.
don't feel bad if you feel that way, because you can't be everything, you can't be all the same person at the same time every single second of every day. You can try, but
Yeah.
you're never gonna be good at something
Mm,
completely, because you're not
right. Yeah.
dedicating yourself completely to that one role, right?
Yes. There's also like a lot of representation, like women can do anything, especially now with feminism and all. But even before then, women are always known to multitask. I think even before women work, doing household chores is a lot of things, right? It's a list of different things and you have to do it again and again. So I guess we're already wired. I don't know, like how we look at other women. For me, it's my mom. My mom, she's the one working for us, especially when we were, in school. So, but it's also from other women. I've always see, especially for occasions, women are the one who prepares, and the men just relax and
Let me just say, because we do things better. We do things
yeah.
better. So I feel like I don't think that men are not, capable of multitasking. I think they are, but we just do it better. We have a lot of things going in our head, right? And we want
Mm,
things done a certain way because we've done it for so
right.
long. And that's
Again
how
and again.
it's,
Right.
I would think too, the society has a role to play in that, because back in the day, women are just made, I mean, women were just pretty, always just at home,
Mm,
dressed up. When you come home, food is ready, the food is hot. So
yeah.
society does play a big role in it. And growing up with that idea of how women are,
Mm,
it has become part of
yeah.
who we are. And despite as women trying to be like that boss,
Mm,
that boss lady, we can't do it. We can't do it all. We try, we try, we try, but
mm,
I just can't
yeah.
say right now that it is tough being that boss lady, boss mom, boss wife.
Yeah.
Label everything.
Yeah.
It's a tough role to play.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I totally understand that. So I live with different people in my house with my family. So whenever I ask them to do tasks that I normally or I always do, I always get a bit upset if they don't do it, in a certain way that I would normally do it. I always end up just doing it because I know they're not gonna do it on
The
how I
way, yeah.
would do it. Yeah, I would complain how tired I am doing this thing.
I can definitely relate with that because we know how to do it. There's a certain way we want things done, right? At the same time, for me, I am learning to let go. Let it go.
That's hard.
It's challenging. Yeah, me
Mm,
watching my husband do something, I'm just like staring at him,
mm,
like, do it right, do
yeah,
it right.
yeah.
But at the same time, I have to let that go,
Mm,
because if I don't allow them to you know join in with the responsibility, then they will never do it. Just let go, and then slowly just like feed, like, hey, can you, this is how I do it, like kind of just guide them through it. But you, first things first, the first step is let go. Just like, even when you want to eye them like they're throwing the trash, like, do it right. Sometimes I just have to walk away, walk to the other side of the room, so I don't see it, so I don't like stare at him while he does it, but it's definitely, I have to practice it. To this day, I'm not saying that I'm doing it right perfectly, but
mm,
if I feel like I want to be in control of something, I just leave the room. Or
right.
else I will go crazy and be like, do this. So
Yeah.
I just step away. I think that's the smartest move I could make, to step away.
I am a stay-at-home working mom and a full-time mom, so it is very difficult. And I know you too, Dai, is also a full-time mom.
Yes, yes. Let me tell you a little bit.
Mm,
So I am a first time mom. I gave birth in May and my son is now 9 months old, almost 10 months old. And so for the past 8 months, I was a stay-at-home mom. I cared for him and I was breastfeeding as well, so that took a toll on me. And after that, my husband needed help with the finances, so I had to jump on and work. And it was definitely challenging because being a mom already is exhausting. Being a wife at the same time is like just balancing all that. And on top of that, I had to work. So it was mentally and physically draining. And to be honest with you, I'm not even sure how I'm still functioning right now, but
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot.
Right. Yeah, it is very hard. I remember, I think when we had our first daughter, we were very broke. We didn't really have a stable job. We work at this ESL company and it's just they pay so low. And we were living in, it's not really our place, just somewhere we have to stay in. We asked some relatives if we can stay there. And that was the place that we stayed raising our first daughter. I would say it really took a toll on our relationship. When you have your first baby, I don't know, your character might change because of the pregnancy or post pregnancy. So there's a lot of things women can feel, and it really depends on the partner if he can be very supportive and understanding. For you, Dai, was there any pressure from any people you know?
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, because my husband is a pilot and then he actually had to leave the moment we moved. So what happened was that, let me give you a backstory. So I gave birth, had a C-section. The day we were discharged, we had to travel 12 hours to move to a different state. And I'm not supposed to sit down for a very long period of time because of my C-section, but I had to. And after that, my husband went on training for like 2 weeks. So I was alone for 2 weeks in a new home with my
Yeah.
child that I just met. And
Yeah.
my mom is not here. So
Yeah.
that was definitely challenging. I had no one to lean on. My
Yeah.
husband was away. It was just me and my
Yeah.
dog and my son.
Exactly.
It was an
Yeah.
insane. I
Mm.
just cry.
Yeah, I really like how you said it, Tay. It's like this baby that you just met. I did remember that because the moment that I held Clemmy for the first time, my first daughter, it was really weird feeling. I mean, she really felt like a stranger. Like, who are you? But you also felt this excitement. But the excitement kind of fades away when she starts crying for the first time, and like, oh my god, this is gonna be my life for the next year or something. So
Oh, for
yeah.
me was a little bit different. So I had a C-section. I
Mm,
was completely numb, couldn't even hold my child. I had to have a C-section. He wouldn't come
mm,
out down there. And so they had to cut me open. And I was completely numb. I was exhausted. And when they gave him to me, I couldn't even really hold him.
mm.
And to be honest with you, everyone would talk about mothers just having this moment. It's the most beautiful moment. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
that wasn't the
Mm,
case. For
mm.
me, it's like, get this baby away from me because I want to sleep because I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
slept. My labor was really long. I'm in
Mm,
pain meds. My whole
yeah.
body is in pain. I don't really want to care for another child right now.
Mm,
And as
right.
terrible as that sounds, it is the
Mm,
truth. A lot of
mm.
moms you'd hear on the social media, oh, it was the most beautiful moment in my life holding my
Yeah.
child. No, it wasn't the case for me. It took a little
Yeah.
bit, because he's a
Mm,
complete stranger. I loved him.
mm.
I love him, but it's just a
Yeah.
weird relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
no
it's
one
like,
really talks about that.
yeah, yeah. It's like trying to get to know someone for the first time, and also at the same time, you are the caregiver for that
Yes.
person. So I've also struggled with that because when we had our first daughter, we it was just me and my partner. We didn't have someone who has experience or is a mom or any grown ups. It's like we're kids, but we were very young at that time. I was 19, so I was very young. We didn't really have like a grown up help us, especially my mom. She wasn't there, so it was very difficult. I just relied on Google for assistance. So also, that what made you decide to go back to work? So is it because you really just want to work, or
I
Is it
mean,
because you have to?
I've always worked, and being the way I
Mm,
was raised, I didn't like depending on people for money.
right.
I understand that I'm married to someone and whatever he has is mine. But my mentality was always like, I have to be able to provide for myself, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And despite him saying like, yeah, it's fine, but I could also see that he is stressing out about finances.
Mm-mm.
And
Yeah.
so I, as a wife, I don't
Mm.
want him to carry all that burden. I mean, as much as it's nice to, just stay
Yeah.
at home, watch your child, enjoy those little moments, I had to help out. So
Exactly. Okay.
you had
Yeah.
to, it's like
Exactly.
you just had to take on more responsibility than you already have.
Yeah, also the same with me, Dai. After I gave birth to my daughter, after a month, I started working. It was actually we were choosing between who's gonna work. I told him that I'm gonna work. I just don't like the feeling of being stuck at home since I've always worked, you know. So I don't know. I just felt like I would go crazy if I stay home. How different is it working as a single or like no children or no child woman compared to now?
Definitely challenging because I would remember when I would go to work, my head game is like, well, not that type of head game.
Okay. Parang nag-logs ako. Sabi niya, wild. Okay.
Anywho, like my mind was just work. And when I go home, I could just, relax, watch a show. Now that I'm a mom and I'm working from home, despite I'm in my PJs, my mind is not all there. I'm thinking about chores. I am thinking about like what my child is doing, how I can be a present mom. So I'm not fully there working because I'm like multitasking in my brain, right? Because I like a clean house and stuff like that. So when I'm like working, right, and then I'll be like, oh, I forgot the dishes are in the sink. I have to wash those dishes. And like, it's like mom brain. Like a lot of things are going on all at once to the point that I cannot completely focus. Back in the day, I would just worry about how to flirt with my husband. That's pretty much it. And then right now, I have to think about how to flirt with my husband, how to be a mom, how to clean the house, how to do my job. It's just an overload of like a lot of things. And I don't think I am 100% my best worker self, if that makes sense. Like before, I could hit my marks, my productivity marks. Dang, dang. I would be like top three or something like that in the whole quarter. But right now, I don't feel like that. I'm not reaching my full potential in terms of like working. It's because my mind is elsewhere when it comes to, you know, when being a mom. It's just a lot, definitely a lot. How about you? What are your thoughts about that?
So since I do work from home, I do prefer having an office or working in an office. But even though I did like in my first month after I gave birth, I did work in an office. So I do know how it feels like to work from the office and have a kid. The whole time I was just worrying about my kid or how she is. I do miss her all the time. I do think when you work in an office, it's much better focus wise. Like I
Yes.
believe you can be more productive
Productive,
because
yes.
yeah, that's for sure. But when you work from home, and I've been working for how many years at home, I always clean the house first before I do work. I feel very uneasy if the place is very dirty, if it's very unorganized, and that also affects my mood.
Yes.
Because especially with my work, I do have to be creative sometimes, so I cannot think, you know,
About
creative.
dishes, about the
Yeah,
floor being dirty.
yeah, exactly. So it really bugs me a lot. So I always just clean up before I do work,
Mhm.
if possible. But it was great before, I think, because we had a nanny. So having a helper is really helpful, regardless if you work from home or regardless if you work from the office. But I think in the US it's very different, right? It's more expensive to hire a nanny.
Yes, yes, it is. It's like
They
basically I'd rather not have a job at this point, if I have to get a
Mhm.
nanny because the price of a nanny is basically almost a price of how much I earn. That's how
Uh,
expensive they are.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what's the point? That's why a lot of moms here in the US or parents decide on one parent works, one parent doesn't because of how much childcare is and just how much it costs to get a helper or someone to help out at home because
mm,
it's expensive. It's like for
right.
rich people. So
Very different in the Philippines, right? Like usually it's there's many relatives that can take care of your kids. And I wish that was the case for me. My mom is far away. So uh yeah, I don't really have that luxury. I think that's a luxury because it's like having a nanny for free.
yes.
Yeah. So that would
And
be
you know that they will be cared for, you know, the way you want it to be cared for
mm,
because they're your
true.
family members and it's not a complete stranger into your home.
One note I have for this is that whether you want to work or not work, or whether you want to work from home or work from the office, it's really having that support from your partner or whoever you have in your life that can support you emotionally because it's very challenging to work. I mean, at work alone there's a lot of like problems at work, right? And sometimes we bring it at home, but it's very different because when you work from home, you have this problem and you also have this problem at home. So, yeah, I think break is really important, having that time to yourself, just being alone. So, that for me, at least that worked for me. I do want to be left alone sometimes or like go somewhere by myself or, just having like a quiet moment. That works for me. That keeps me sane.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
no, I totally agree. It's because, like, at the same time, like I mentioned multiple times, like, we have multiple roles. We are playing multiple roles in our lives, right, as women. Now, that is a lot itself. And just having a moment to pause, to breathe is essential, or else you'll go crazy, or, worst case scenario, not something that we want to talk about, but, some people go that route. It's just because it's a lot. And, if ever you have friends that are working from home or are moms, make sure you check on them because, sometimes we just need a listening ear. And that's kind of what we're here for. So if you don't have friends that reach out to you, feel free to reach out to us. We would gladly, try our best as moms as well to, make sure that you're okay because it's a tough world. It's a tough world for women. It's a tough world for everyone who are parents and at the same time trying to manage everything. So,
very isolating to work
yes.
from home, to be honest, especially your mom. There are things that you cannot really talk to your partner about because they can't just relate or
Yes.
they don't understand. So it's very nice to have that community. And as of now, I don't have that. But hopefully we can create that community through this podcast.
Now that I'm kind of getting accustomed to being a mom, I would love to be there for other moms that can't speak their mind to their partner or speak their mind to other family members because it's hard to become vulnerable when you're trying to be a strong woman.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I think that's it because we always know that when you become a mom, you just really have to be strong. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's
Yes.
it for today's episode. I hope we've inspired you in some way into caring for yourself like you care for your loved ones.
Thanks so
I,
much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
bye.
Bye.